Welcome back to another Motherlode show. I'm here, Sandra. We figured out another way to get not only our schedules together, but another wonderful guest. I wonder. I'm like, why? Where do you get all these people from? But it's because you're awesome. So of course you're gonna, attract amazing people. So I'm really excited about our guest. I've watched some videos. I've been on her website, seen some of the really cool things that she's done, and really excited to bring her on. But first, I don't. I feel like this is how we get to talk now, or texting during basketball games. But other than that, this is how we talk. How have things been? We're third of the way through a season. Or
yeah,
is that
close
about
to
right?
it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I've been great. I'm finally recovering from a busy summer. I don't know if the last time we chatted that I mentioned that I had a stress fracture in my right foot. So finally got the boot off of that. So I'm
And
doing well.
traveled all over the world with that, right?
Yes, I have
So,
a boot with over 20,000 miles on it, I think,
okie doke.
Let's convert that into points so I can get a free flight somewhere. But at any rate,
There you go.
um, no, everything's been good. Finally taking it down a notch, exhaling. And yeah, I feel like we talked more before we did this endeavor, but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Life goes on. We're busy. Um,
Yeah.
how are your kids? Everybody good?
Good. Everybody's doing great.
Okay.
I've started to do trivia nights, which is fun. So my kids have been helping me with that. So I'm getting to see them and see their entrepreneurship come out in that, which has been a ton of fun. But yeah, one of the things I did want to ask you, mid-season tournament, that's a new thing, right?
Yeah,
That
that's been really
hasn't been a
cool.
part of. I know when that first came out, some people were like, and other people were like, no, that's going to be sweet. But it seems to have been
Pretty
ended up
sweet.
if they don't care, they don't show it. They seem to want to win that thing.
And I think first of all, I think it's been fantastic. It's been some of the best basketball in the regular season that I've watched in a very long time. Um, and I think the NBA, I think soccer does this. I've heard other sports do something
Yep.
like this, right?
I
So
think that's where they got it from was,
yeah, so I feel like the fans are in it. I was at a game the other night, and in typical mom fashion, we were struggling, and I left. I walked around. I walk around the vestibule.
I've been
I
there
don't.
when you've done it.
I can't sit there, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So then I'm in the back. The Knicks were down by 21, and they came
Which game
back.
was that?
That was against Miami. So this was an in-season tournament game. It was on a Friday night. I was in the back lounge area screaming my head off because and that's good because that's what I do at home. So, it's like, I can't sit still in the arena and I'm like, this is crazy. They're down 21. What are we doing? So no one gets to see me act a fool. I kind of go off into my own little space. So very good basketball. Love it. I'm
Was
excited to
that the
see.
game where during Jalen's post game interview they asked him what inspired him, and he said, I actually I actually caught eyes with this guy, and he looked at me and said, "This is embarrassing," and
Yes.
he's like, "That was my inspiration." Was that? Yeah,
That
that
is
was
exactly
awesome.
right. He said a fan caught his attention, or he looked towards a fan and they locked eyes, and the guy said, "This is really embarrassing." Yep. And so that was we need that guy to come out every night. Obviously not
Yeah,
full 24.
hire that guy, bring him in.
Yes, yes,
Have him sit,
yes. So
right next to Spike Lee or something, and
yeah.
make it happen.
But yeah, so it's been great. It's been fun. I like to see look, these are professional athletes. They're competitors in nature. That's a natural instinct for them. So they
Yep.
may initially come in like, but at the end of the day, once it gets started, these guys are gonna go for broke. So it's kudos to the league for doing something that kind of rejuvenates the fans and the players, and gives them something to look forward to other than because the 82 game season is long.
Right.
It's really long, and I guess the writing's on the wall if your record is flip flop, and you're kind of like, what are we
Yep.
playing for? But this is kind of cool.
Yep.
So good luck to all those teams that are still in it. And Vegas,
Yeah.
hey, Vegas is not bad. It's not a bad place to go.
I'm going to Vegas next week actually. So Uh,
Nice.
Jalen went to Stevenson High School. Another kid that went to Stevens High School is Aiden O'Connell. He's
Aiden
the starting
O'Connell.
quarterback for the Vegas Raiders, and me and my friend Steve are going to go out and see him play next Thursday night. So
Oh,
I'll be in Vegas next Thursday.
Thursday
It'll be
night
fun.
football. Okay, you got to
Yeah.
be on assignment. Maybe you'll get to meet his mom. Okay, but further
Yeah.
ado,
Okay. All
further
right. All
ado,
right. Well,
we
I've met her before. I know Kathy, but yeah, maybe she'll be there. We'll see what's up.
yes, yes. Okay. So yes, you mentioned that we have a wonderful guest, which there aren't enough superlatives to describe this guest. Now, just to give you a little backstory, I know her from college. Um,
Are we gonna hear Are we gonna hear some
no, we're not
college
going to hear
story?
no, because like I told you, there
Oh,
are
okay. All
many
right.
leaves in the wind in college. People are just doing their thing,
Okay.
so you don't really know who's who or who's doing what or aspires because we're just students. We're just doing our thing.
She said nothing was off limits
Yeah, so
in our.
I'm gonna let her bring whatever she wants to bring, outside of a couple of parties at Mitten Hall or wherever, whatever. But that's about it. That's another
Okay. All
story.
right.
But at any rate, she's wonderful. She is currently a principal of a school in Philadelphia, and she is also has a wonderful organization called Empowering Moms, Single Moms, excuse me, Empowering Single Moms Inc. This organization, and I'll let her expand on it, but she is helping to educate and to teach women, single moms, most importantly, to be self sufficient. To help them to get on their feet. We all know being a mom in general, even with a support system, is tough. Not knocking you, Steve. You're a great dad, but listen, moms carry a huge, huge weight of just trying to multitask. So
Yep.
we want to learn about that with her. Also, she is, I would say she's a motivational speaker. We've seen her on various things and shows. I've seen her. I actually learn a lot and I get a lot of, I don't want to say empowerment, I just say comfort in some of her posts on LinkedIn. That's another plug for her. For those of you who aren't on LinkedIn, please follow Dr. Crystal Edwards because you will learn a
Oh,
couple of
I need to.
things. But
Yeah, I
without
need to
further
do that.
ado, Steve, let's welcome her in. Dr. Crystal M. Edwards. Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome. Welcome.
you. And I like to say I'm the chunky Dr. Crystal M. Edwards because there's actually another Dr. Crystal M. Edwards, and I think she's like a superintendent, but she's petite. So you'll know off the bat which one is which. When you
I
look
think
us
I could
up.
put Chunky in front of myself too. I don't
Yeah,
know I have anybody I need to differentiate
I'm
from,
the
but
I'm
yeah,
the
I'll
girthy
do that.
one. I'm the girthy one. So
Okay,
yeah,
okay. We
but
love it.
thank
We
you
love
for
it though.
having me.
Thank you for being on and thank
Thank
you for your
you.
time. This is my friend Steve Long. Steve and I go
Yes.
Yeah.
back way back,
Hello.
but I have been talking about you. I mentioned you several months ago, so and I'm really bad at social media and the platform. So I may send a message, which I think I did, and then it's like crickets because I don't go
Yeah.
back. I don't know, and then I'm thinking I did messenger. Did she text me? And so we reconnect. So thank you so much for responding, and I know you
No
get
problem.
a lot of people reaching out to you.
Oh, no problem. No problem
Sandra
at
sent me a
all.
video. She goes, what do we think of her?" And I watched like 30 seconds. I'm like, "Yup, yes. Yup, 100%.
Listen,
Yes."
listen, it's the life. It has been the best teacher through so many things, but it has been the best teacher and the best motivator. It life for me has been that person that Jalen saw in the stand. That was like, like what are we doing?
This is
And I'm
embarrassing.
like, guess what? And you're right. And, I have to do things differently because things are a mess. Let's get them
Right.
together,
So
And so, yeah.
so one thing obviously that I missed on, but definitely not the least of your many titles. You're a mother of four.
I
You're a
am a
mother
mother.
of
Can I
four.
say that they are adults?
Okay.
Like, not in my husband and not like not in our wallet adults anymore. Like they're
Oh, that must be great.
adults. you know
Adults.
so I'm like, wow, this is great. So my husband and I actually we're doing grown people things for the holidays.
Okay.
So we're going to take that Amtrak like sleeper bedroom thing.
I've always
Listen,
wanted to
so
do
it's real
that.
grown up stuff, right? So we're going to the Colorado Rockies, right, for
No.
Christmas because our
Really?
anniversary is Christmas Eve. Because I knew people say, "Why did you get married Christmas Eve?" Because the church was already decorated. There's
Okay.
no flower
December
budget and
Boom!
decoration budget.
December
It's
14th.
see,
The place was
there
decorated,
we
the
go.
church was decorated, the event place was
That eliminates
decorated.
like
We had
tens of
no
thousands of
money.
dollars.
Wait a minute.
Exactly.
That's
What?
it.
I didn't get the memo for this.
Yes. I'm like,
I
we
was
Yeah.
just
married in
married in the
July.
No, thank you. December,
Right.
please. So we're going there for our anniversary, the holidays, and everything. And so my knee baby, that's the one that's next to the youngest. He's 24. And a few weeks ago, when we told everybody, we're going to be away for the holidays, he's asking, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? And I said, yeah, sure. And he was like, so I just need to get this off my chest. And I'm like, what's wrong? What's going on? He was like, Mom, since you turned 50, you've been really grown. Like things are different. Like you have kids. Like we're gonna be here. And I was like, what? Like get used to it. I need you to understand
This
because
is
as
just the
soon as
start.
somebody wants to take you out or you all are with girlfriends, we don't exist.
That's true.
That's
So
right.
eat this humble pie and wait for us as we're going away for the holidays. Like, dude, how many Christmases have you had me? Like, come on. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm so jealous of that. I've always wanted to do
Steve has
exactly
And
what
we're
younger.
gonna do this.
exactly what you're doing.
No, listen, FaceTiming. Act like it's a pandemic and we were in two different homes during the holidays because somebody had COVID. Just, you know, the
So
train has Wi-Fi, so we'll see
So
everyone.
you
There
know
you go.
what? So Steve has two younger children, high school and middle school,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Okay,
15
so
and 13.
yeah, so I have a 27 and a 22-year-old. So can I tell you that I just told our youngest, who's Erica, she's 22. I said, Daddy and I were talking last night that this Christmas thing, it's like Christmas year round. You get stuff all year round. So, next year we're thinking for the immediate family, we'll just, we'll do the little angry Santa game that we play with the bigger family, where we have a dollar amount, set dollar amount, and we'll step it up a notch, maybe $500 minimum, right? Whatever, maybe.
Right,
I mean, there's
yeah.
only five of us, right? And then we'll just get together and do. And she's like, I don't like that one bit. No, I don't. I'm not going for that. I'm like, well, you're the only one who will probably. I mean, you'll still get little knickknacks, a little stocking stuffer. I said, but
Yeah.
this. Why are we doing this anymore? It's you're an adult, and not only because you're an adult, but the thing is, you get stuff. You can get anything you want. We're running out of ideas, and the list that you give me, I'm tired of the list. You're not a little kid. Don't give me the little list anymore. So, don't know how that's going to go over too well,
It'll
but
go over
yes,
because we started years ago. Like I think when they got into high school, it's like we're the one gift wonder. What's the big thing you want that you don't want to
what's the
spend
one
your
thing?
money on? The one get, and that's how it's always been. You're gonna get these little, right stuff in your stocking. They really get excited about that, but get this one gift and beat it. Okay. Because it's so
Yeah.
much with just the holidays in and of itself. It's just so we've always incorporated that it was just family time. We went from, whatever we did and making the cookies. They're grown. We go to happy hour. It's the family happy hour. Like,
Go to a trivia night. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we're that's the type of it's the family happy hour. Then the next week, like right before New Year's, it's the movie night all day on like, and that's it. Let somebody call
Yeah.
in the midst of all that, and it's like, Mom, I'm gonna be right back. Like when tomorrow, dude, you're shacking up for the night. I already know. So mine are 31, 29, 24, and one will be 20, and the baby will be 20 in April. So I'm like, I owe you nothing but grace and mercy. You're awesome,
Grace
strapping
and
looking
mercy.
adults. I'm done.
You got my jeans. You got all. Yeah. And now you got my money for a while. And now here we
You have
go.
my
Yeah.
attention, and now
Here's my Christmas list.
And
here's exactly
it's
that's
crazy.
my goal And I'll throw this out there. My dream Christmas is to send everybody postcards from somewhere abroad on the
Somewhere.
beach. I want to be, I'll send a post, Merry Christmas. I will be in Jamaica, you
Yes.
know, Aruba. I want to be somewhere and I don't want to lift one finger to do one gift. And it's not because I'm at the point where I raised my kids and now I'm like, okay, and this is a perfect segue to you. I want to give back. I want to do things. I
Mhm.
want to do things, so meaningful things, right? And I'm new to this space with Jalen in our journey in philanthropic giving. So I want you to tell us how. I think I know, and of course I've done my research, but please tell our audience as to how you came up with your nonprofit, Empowering Single Moms. How did
Well,
you come up with that? And
it's really funny. Like when I was, and we talked about the college stories, right? So when I was at Temple, I really like had this friend who like we fell in love with each other. So people were coming back from like freshman year going to sophomore year, and they were like, the Rexon effect came out with, the check baby one, the rump shaker was
Yep.
out. Well, I was married and pregnant by then. You know what I mean? Like, and so I come back home with like a husband and a baby, and when my mom was like, "This is the shit. This is what she does." Like
She had been zoom, 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 and a boom, boom.
right.
She that's
So,
had been
like, so
happening.
I'm back in the the DMV there, Washington D.C. area, and uh, it's like, so this is my life. So everybody's going back to college, and we're taking like Lamaze classes because listen, we're in so much love. Yeah, well then the love comes to an end for young people. It does because one person, Spinderella said this back in like '97. She said that half a woman will attract half a man. And not that it's anybody's fault, but when there's growth that still needs to go on, you won't attract those things that you really need to be connected to. Okay. And although there were certain things in my life that had already propelled me for what I knew I wanted to, be, because I was, I had a lot of trauma growing up as a child. So I knew what I wanted. I got that. But when you connect with someone who's immersed in like a certain family whose culture is totally different because they're from, Africa, so they are African and not African American. You know what I mean? So there were certain things that I didn't understand. You're the firstborn male. That's a whole nother like dynamic. Oh yeah, I mean, so it was so. Although there were times when I like felt like disrespected or things of that nature from that, it was cultural. Like, in other words, is if his parents could have said, "Chick, you out of order. This is not how we don't do this." And I think I would have understood, but it was just me in my youth. So when we decided, well, when it was a lot of things that went on that, we wound up, separating and getting divorced and everything. And I was like blindsided by a lot of things. And then I went into like an abyss just of being in a really dark place. And I tell people this all the time. I was so hurt and damaged over just everything when I came out of my funk. And although professionally I was rising, getting the masters and started teaching, I personally in my personal life was so hurting. It was crushed because my marriage had broke up. When I really got things together, I looked up. I had two additional children by people I didn't even speak to. And when I hear, let me tell you something, when people judge other people in I was there, and you're not even realizing that you're trying to get that connection that you always wanted, and it doesn't work out because you are not all the way healed. And this is something that I heard the other day, and I almost veered my car off the road because it was so deep. It said, this person said, that doing the opposite of what hurt you doesn't mean that it healed you. So we do the opposite. So if you were a child that, had a food insecurity, and as an adult, you buy all of this food, it's although you're doing the opposite, you're not healed from when you were starving as a child. You know what I mean? So that's all I was creating this narrative that I wanted. Being a child that didn't grow up to their father, Vietnam took our dad, never brought him back. You know what I mean? Brought his body back, but his mom was still, you know what I'm saying? So there was not a father figure. It was my mom, who was a single mom, who always would tell my brother, like, you don't want no ready-made family. Don't get with no women already got kids. So, and that was her as a single mom telling my brother this. And here I am now, this person. I have four children by folks and it's like, okay, like you have everything that you need that will attract what you really want, but you got to get yourself together. And I was like, I never thought, I never in my life, I thought that like my grandparents who were married almost 60, 70 years, that was going to be me with my first marriage. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. And now I was like, oh my gosh, all this time I grew up with these bad things about single moms, and you better never be, because, I wanted to, I'm waiting for my king, and then he's here, and I'm thinking, but he wasn't in that place where I was, because our lives had been different. Now, have we really taken the time to like really grow and really and learn, it would have been different. But my hurt, I think, with what I had gone through as a child, I just want my family and I want everything to be. And I probably encapsulated him in a space where he felt trapped and couldn't grow. Now we like cousins. We had grown. Like, he comes over and he, hangs with the kids, and my husband and I, and it's him and his fiance. Like, we're like cousins. We've been like that for forever, because I could have been filled with so much anger, and it was a time that, yes, I used to pray, like, I want his car to stop on the septic tracks, and I want somebody to, like, like, he just blows, like, it was all of these crazy things. And one day, my neighbor came. There was quite a disturbance at my house on one of his visits, right? And my neighbor came over, and I can't remember. I had like really blacked out. And I remember being in like this fetal position, and she was consoling me, and she told him he had to leave. And so she talked to me, and she said, listen, I want you to really pray for him. And like she said, I see the hurt, and I see the way you're like almost robotic with how you are taking care of the children and everything. And she says, like, whatever happened has sucked the life out of you. And she was like, I want you to pray for him. And I remember crying and saying, I pray for him like every day. Like every day I'm praying that he gets snuffed out, that he gets caught up, that he gets caught up in South Philly, because this is when the
It's the
mafia was
wrong
big.
prayer.
I was
The
like,
wrong
like the Grim Reaper, like, and she was like, "Oh no, 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 no! Like, no, that's the no, no, not like that." And so it took me years to be able to, but I did it. I did it for the sake of my children, even with my other biological associates. I did it for the sake of my children, and really scale back. Um, I scaled back the hurt. I went to therapy. Like, I really got it together, personally, and really understood the really pivotal points that single mothers come into. And this is why I'm such a staunch fighter for single mothers. Because, first of all, I never met a single mother who is this fallacious black woman who is just out here having been. That's a narrative that I've never seen in the work that I've done and continue to do. There is someone who probably was broken, or grew up with fairy tales, who just wanted to love somebody and to be loved and thinking that we're going to be married. I've never seen a single mom who's like, oh, no, I really never wanted to be married to him at all. I just wanted these kids. No, that's a narrative that really is not factual. And when we look at single motherhood, do you know that women who've never been married and divorced mothers have almost um the same exact rate. One is like 41%, one is I think is like 47. So it's not this whole thing of, oh, they just never been married. No, no. Divorced mothers have been hurt. They're out here. Widowed mothers have been hurt. They're out here. Women who were in love and got crushed and it never they're out here. I was that in my mind I was a widower, but I wasn't. He was alive. He was like the Walking Dead to me, but he was alive. But that's those things that we carry. That single moms I work with don't want to be on any type of public assistance. They want daycare for somebody who's going to love their children or their child the way they do, so they can go to work. They want a working wage and affordable housing. And if you don't have one of those three that's secure, well, then you can't do the other two. And so it defeats this narrative of it's all black women, they all just sleep around, and there's no type of birth control. All these crazy things that we hear. I'm here to tell you all, it's a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah, and
I,
to hear it's amazing coming from you that like you're not just spouting off statistics, which they are statistics. That's the truth. But you're coming from your own personal experience, and you're willing to talk about it and allow other people to learn from that is,
Yeah.
it's pretty
And
incredible.
that's basically what I'm working with moms. Like, we have our fourth Temple graduate already. We had a young
really?
lady, our last one, Sydney, and Sydney doesn't mind if I, tell her story. Sydney fell in love her senior year at Temple in a not so wonderful relationship that sucked 10 years out of her life. She had one class before
Oh
she
my
was going to
gosh.
graduate. But love will make you think that you got one time, you got time for this one class. She didn't see the psychological damage that was going on. Like, you're being extracted away from your everyday life. You're being
Mm.
extracted away from your parents. Now you're expecting. Now we live together. So now I can abuse you in this space because now you're away from
Isolated.
everything. Isolation, 10 years. 10 years.
That's
When I tell you Sydney now works for my my same employer, okay? And she is a bad mama jamma. She left, she graduated from Temple. Empowering Single Moms gave her a scholarship for that last class. And she is a beast and is
so.
so thankful in working with other single moms. That's the work that we do. Now, somebody could have looked at Sydney and her three children somewhere out in the park or at the grocery store and thought that she was just some chick that's. And I love this whole narrative of you're on welfare and you're robbing the system. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. And let me tell you something. When it's persons with a different hue who have money and are famous, they're celebrating that birth of this child from this single mother or whatever. When it's Riri and them around the corner who loves Brian to death and she's thinking that they're going to get married because that's what he said, and that's everything he's done so far. It looks like that, and it doesn't happen. Now she becomes the catalyst for everything political and everything that's robbing the system,
Oh my gosh.
and
Wow.
it's disgusting. It
It
is
is.
such. You talking about fake news? It's disgusting. So this is when, and in my work, I don't see that at all.
Yeah.
So when obviously like Steve had said, like you walk the walk. So you're able to talk this talk. And how does your organization how do you reach out? How do you get to know these women, or do people come to you? Are you a brick and mortar? You know what I mean? Like, how do
Yep.
people come and learn about what you have to offer, and assistance? Like you just said that you paid for the one class for Sydney, right? The remaining class, those type of things. Obviously, there's various stages of help
It's,
that
yes.
your
Yep.
moms need. Well, how does someone learn about your organization, and how do they get in contact with you, or do you go around to various outlets, churches? Where do you go?
Listen, that's funny that you would say. I do all of those things. So we serve all of Delaware and the Philadelphia city itself, right? And so we have our website, we do intake. People reach out to us and say, and so when we do intake, so that's our first one of our first things. When we do intake, it's myself or Ioka Blandford, who is our ED, our executive director, and we do the intake ourselves because we have to determine. Because guess what? This isn't outsourced. This is work I do and work that she does when she was a single mother and is a temple grad. Like, we do this work. This is our time. So I have to know whether you listen. If you still chasing penis around the corner, you won't fight the girl down the street. You're not ready for. You're not ready for it. You're still behaving in a way that people are using that as a stereotype. I can't help you. I mean, I really can't. But if you were like, listen, I these are my goals, because I ask you what your goals are. What have you done so far? What do you? How do you see us partnering to help you? And we do that work, okay? But we map out a plan. It's like a goal sheet. Like, we really map, and we do check-ins and meeting points. We have our solid Sundays. Those are our classes that you can be in person or online on the Zoom. We do the family activities. We do have an empowering single mom house, which is has 3 bedrooms to be able to begin to do our 72 holds for moms who are homeless, and we're working with the state to try to find other homes that we might, as nonprofits, might be able to get to house single moms and their families, so they can begin to reach these goals. Because throwing stuff in their faces like that, and I'm gonna tell you what is so surprising to me. When people saw me being a single mom and you didn't know me, people be like, where their people rarely say, well, where their father? What When you working in the realm of single mothers, people don't ask where the fathers are unless they're being facetious and nasty.
Ooh. Ooh.
That's when women get asked. Like, if you're at a clinic appointment, well, where the dad? Like, it's
Oh.
really like you're the
It's
scum of the
derogatory.
earth.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now it's bad enough, with just statistically how black women are treated, whether you are Beyonce or Tamika from around the corner when we're giving birth to children. They said there is no difference economically, publicly, from those two women when they're in a maternity ward as opposed to other races of women. Okay? So it's already that in and of itself with that stereotype. But people never ask, like, I think we one of the only organizations, like, okay, where do the fathers live? Are you in contact with them? Because we do have activities that we do. We like to bring the dads in. We like to help you begin to communicate. I had to learn that through trial and error and by reading a good book. Like, Lord, where does it say? Let me read these 10 Commandments about thou shalt not kill, so I can, when I see him, I'll know that I can't, take him out. You know what I mean? So that's how I really had to start that real co-parenting work. And then it became like second nature. But I mean, it was just the whole going through the trenches. But guess what? My children deserved every bit of it. They had, even though we were not together, they had the best childhood. Okay? I never ever, and this is something I stress to mothers all the time. You cannot extract the communication and the visitation of the father. That thing should be almost 50-50.
Okay.
Like, you can't, unless that father is a known pedophile or been arrested for being a pedophile or something dealing with children.
Okay.
You can't, that's not, those children not yours to just harbor. And he got a new girlfriend. No, we're not doing that. I wanted to do that. But guess what? If my children were with their father, who I knew loved and cared for them, that means I could be out here, you know what I mean? Either going to a class or going to a wine tasting or being at home crying if I wanted to. But I needed that time. And women, I have to change the mindset of our women. Like, listen, when they're with their father, live it up. Live it up and let your children see that you all are friends. You're co-parenting. Co-parenting is bigger than your hatred for the new chick that he's with. I promise you.
Right.
Okay? So those are just some of the things that we're doing a little bit on how I got here.
And if you're living it up too, right? Like, and you're the expert on this, not me, but I would think that would be them seeing a healthy mom too, right? Isn't that part of the...
Listen, yes it is. So Steve, I'm going to tell you this here. Okay, this is going to be between me, you, and Sandra.
Okay. That's it.
He used to come on his weekends and get the children out. I would be in almost like mourning, right? But I would get dressed to the nines. I would get dressed up, and he would ring the doorbell, and I would go open it. Hey, how you doing? I'm on my way out too. Here they go. Come on, guys, your dad's here. You know, and they would be like, okay, bye, Mom. And he would try to, small talk, or, sometimes have a girl in the car, and I would wave, and then I would go like that when I would close the door. And I would walk to my car, and I would get in it and everything. And, we all pulling out the driveway together. And I would go in the opposite direction because I was going around the neighborhood. And I would come right back and park my car and get out, hang my clothes back up, and put my robe that I had been crying in all day long.
Yeah.
But
for those of you listening on audio, the podcast, there may have been a certain finger is up in the air to as part of that. For those not watching, but just listening, may or may not have been. But there's nobody listening because this is just between us, right?
It's just between. That's our secret.
That's right.
But that's what I would do. And guess what started happening? Eventually, I was like, okay, when he pick him up, I'm just gonna run to the shop, right? When he picks him up, I'm just going to return this item that I bought for the kids. And then I started, but when he picks him up, well, if so-and-so want me to stop by their house, I just go there. It gets better. And then what you will find out when you're really listening and when you're really healing, that damn life that they're living is a whole mess. And it's a facade as well, because they are hurt and broken and want to apologize to you for some of the things that they've done. And what I tell people all the time, I respect and honor my ex-husband because, number one, he tried. Number two, he was 19 at the time. When we got divorced, we were something like 26 or something, like, you know what I mean? I wish I could give him back those years because he was trying.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But, he's a young man. Other women was calling. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's just certain things. Okay? And we've had conversations around what was going on with him, and just a lot of things that young people in serious relationships don't talk about because they think that there's a weakness in them. But he tried. I love my ex in-laws like they were still in-laws, and I have an awesome relationship with them. Sometimes he's here, I'm not here. He's here playing pool with my husband. He's with our older children come over, like, so it's really like amazing. But you get there. And that's what I'm telling single mothers, like, listen, do you need a voodoo doll? You want to act like that's him? You want to stab him with your pencil? I get it. But it's going to come a day you're going to put the doll down. It's going to be all right. You know what I mean?
But you have to put in the work, right?
You have, Yana Van Zandt says that all the time. You have to do your work. Period. You have to do your work.
So what are some of the things? So obviously you're telling some of the, it's patience. One, you have to have patience. And obviously you are not the atypical woman.
Well, that's what men will tell me now. My baby mom not like that. I'm like, well, wait a minute, John. You're looking like a shady character. How many baby moms do you have? Because it's so funny. Because a woman can say, and I tell people all the time, oh, I'm coming with a 4-piece with 3 contributors. Yes, they're great. But it's funny. Men, we give men like a pastor that, okay, he has 8 baby moms. Okay, but he takes care of all of them. Well, you can have a woman with 8 baby moms. She takes care of them too. But she's nasty and decrepit. And she might be making 6 figures, but guess what? For some reason, she's on the sister. What? No, she's not. Like, it really is societal differences between the two. My thing is, for the love of the children and what our communities look like, you gotta co-parent. That's for those children. And then guess what? Children get older. They get grown. I did a podcast with my oldest son right before he turned 30. And I asked him, like, I said, certain parts of your life, I was a single mom. I said, and tell single moms out here, what I did right and what I didn't do right, And my son said, Mom, I see moms in the grocery store, sometimes they're frustrated, they're cursing out these little babies. And you get on my nerves. You look like he said, my siblings and I can never point out a time that you talked about our fathers in just a crazy way. You never spoke ill about them. You had us ready to go and spend time with them. You told us how great they were. Like, these things. He said, as we got older, we knew that you were capping us up. Because we would see what you saw in the relationship. He said, but you really took a high road and wanted us to be loved in that home the way you loved us in our home with you. And you made sure that we were a part of our father's families. Even when it came to your own detriment, that was important to you. He said the only thing I could say to single moms out there, be okay with not making every game. He said you would take off work to be at our games and things like that, and you couldn't come to every one of them. We would want you to come to every one, but literally that's impossible. Right. And that's what he told me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is a testament to just who you are. But I feel like that's who you were. Yeah. Your trauma or the things you said you experienced in your childhood and the goals that you had of what I'll say fairy tale, whatever you thought your life should be. Yeah. You didn't, at some point, you said like you kind of woke up, right? Yeah. And you had to take care of yourself first.
It was right? Definitely a void. It was definitely a void. In my last pregnancy with my son is now 20. like when I that almost mentally probably almost took me out because the story behind that, it was so like, he had known me since I was like a child. We had a history far beyond, before I had children and before I went to college, any of that. But long story short, I get a call from an angry wife. I'm 5 months pregnant, and I keep hanging up the phone. Like, I know, like, this, she got the wrong number. I don't know who. The third time I picked the phone up, she said my name, and my world blacked out. That was Christmas Day of 2003. Christmas Day. And that was an automatic, like, and my thing is, and I tell women this all the time. If who are in that, they find out that this guy's married, or don't have an attitude. You didn't have a relationship with that woman. You have to cut off that relationship with that man. And if there's a child involved, you don't. And I lived by this. I couldn't see him unless he was with his wife. Like, you're not going. No, 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 no. Now, subsequently, they did wind up getting divorced and everything, but I don't do that. No, 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 no. Now this thing has taken a real bad turn. But coming out of that and just raising happy children and being able to tell my children, because I never lied to my children. And I would, tell them, like, and even especially my younger two, I'm like, listen, I was in love, I was in a marriage, it didn't work out, and I didn't handle it well when we went our separate ways, and I wound up with you guys who were like awesome guys. But I really want you to, when you're in relationships, it can go left, it can go, but I think, and when you are in a committed relationship and you are married, you do different things from when you're just dating. Have children when you're married. It's different.
Right.
There's a different responsibility. There's a different connection. I've had them both ways. I'm telling you, it's different when there is a marriage.
I I I hear you have philosophies and um motivational talking points that I believe help both sexes.
Hmm.
Question is, I know that your organization helps empower single mom, but have you ever had a single dad? Or have you ever had a male just come to you to ask you, how do they go about doing certain things in your walks? Because I've seen you across the country, I've seen you do various things, you're
Hmm.
talking to a slew of people, but do you feel as though you could also help, not in the same way that you're helping mothers,
Hmm.
okay? Not that, but I'm just even from a mindset or
But
a
for like helping dads,
yeah. Do you feel that
absolutely,
the opportunity or it
and it
could be
has.
it has,
Hmm.
okay, because the stories that you're telling and the way that your family has been able to, coexist, and you have an extended family, so to speak,
Yes.
sounds as though that you would be as exceptionally most helpful to males as well.
Listen, and it's
Steve.
funny that you say that.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that because when first of all, it's two. That question is twofold. But I'm gonna tell you all
Yes.
this for all the single moms that's listening, right? And I've said this before. Do not stop your children from going to see their father and the new girlfriend. Listen, I looked up. It was like 7, 8 deep girlfriends. You know what? But guess what? Free babysitting. I used to wear those heifers out. You hear me? I used to wear them out. Like,
Yep.
hey, he can't come get them. Do you mind? Cause he's probably going to be at your house. Like, can I just drop them off? Let me tell you something. Start doing that because what they're going to do is try to shine for your ex-husband, your baby father. They're going to try to shine and want to make sure that those children are taken care of in their presence. He used to call like, "Hey, I'm about to come." Oh, no, 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 no. That's okay. They're already at so and so's house. What? You called her? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Cause me and my girl, we were going to the movies, and I knew you were going to be running late because you said when you page me, because that was in pager days, okay? Or you left a message on an answer machine, you said you wouldn't be around to 8. So she was able to get them at 6:15 so I could get ready. Are you okay with that? Because they're with you over there anyway sometimes, right? So I got all of that together. And for some, I see the fathers more in my in my role as a principal, because we have single fathers show up to schools. Single black fathers are at the school. I don't know what school says that, or what statistics, and even statistically speaking, they say that black men who are not with their children's mother are the most incorporated group in the lives of their children. But you'll hear that black men don't show up and they not this and they no. They're the number one group of men who are not with the mother that show up for their children.
Wow.
And they come in. Listen, I have breakfasts for my fathers. We do things for the moms. We do things for the fathers. But I've had to have very candid conversation when mom and dad both show up and they not talking. I'm like, y'all got to come in my office because you're getting on my nerves. Come in here. And I mean, I have had some of the most heart-wrenching conversations that put me back in that space that I had been healed from, between the mom and this girl that you had a baby by, and I was with, we were together, and I've had men who was like, I'm sorry. I didn't tell the truth, but I want to see my son. I'm like, Tamika, listen now, you going to have to eat that. Okay, now he's saying he's sorry. He's with this girl. It is what it is, but he wants to see the child. Don't you want your child to, be able to see his father outside of your hurt? Now step outside of your hurt. If you had a single mom, didn't you want to be with your dad? And she didn't want you to go over there because the chick, smoked Virginia Slims and your mom did Newports. Like, it's craziness, right? But weren't you hurt by that? And you just wanted to be with your dad. That's how you ended up with Tyrone in the first place at the phone booth. Because of what you experienced as a child. Let's stop this generational mess.
Yeah.
And then I have fathers who are now on the emergency contact list. They can now come up and get the child out of school. And one mom told me, if something happened to my son, I'm coming back for you because you the one that told me. I said, listen, you know where I work. And you can catch me on Instagram.
Okay, so let's talk about because you work in both places, but you're also okay.
And it's a microcosm. They connect. The work that I do in my personal life and my professional life connect, because it is the work of human service. That's the work that I know. Where human beings are involved, there is a service that people need in order just to sustain life. And that is the work that I do. That's why it is so important.
And Sandra is one of my favorite Brunsons. She is my favorite Brunson, but I do love some Quinta Brunson as well. And that's a principal in Philadelphia. Let
me tell you something about Quinta Brunson. Let me tell you how I'm connected to Quinta. Okay, Quinta's mother, when I first got the principalship, was the kindergarten teacher in my building. Miss Brunson was such a sweetie pie, and I'm gonna tell you how. Your first year, you're just so into. One day, it was like we had professional development, and the teachers had to do something. And she said, "Oh, I want you to introduce me. I want to introduce you, Principal Edwards, to my daughter. This is Quinta." And I was like, "Hi." Now all the other teachers are, "Oh my God, that's Quinta." And I'm like, "Hey, how are you? You look just like your mom." Like, and that was it. And we like took a selfie and. So after the next day, the teachers are like, "Did you post that selfie?" And I'm like, "No." They were like, "Oh my God, like Principal Edwards, that is Quinta. Like, look her up." So she was doing the Black Lady sketch comedy something. It was like years before Abbott, but it was so me and Miss Abbott, Miss Joyce, we were on a panel this summer. in Philadelphia, and she came up to me and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to meet you. Like, I hear about your work you're doing all the time at the school." And I'm like, I turned around like, who you waiting to, you waiting to me? Like, are you kidding? Like, first of all, you look awesome. Like, it was so funny. But yeah, Quinta's mom was my kindergarten teacher. Miss Brunson, such a sweetie pie.
I love that
Such
show, and I think
Oh, I
she's
love it.
I think she's brilliant, and I think was it Miss Ava Coleman, the principal in that show. Like
Well,
I
the
Let me tell you
principal.
something. Just the most, when I tell you a show that really is on the cutting edge of what is really going on, it definitely is Abbott. I just think that it needs to be more probably reality shows of what we have to deal with, because people will be like, I know that they got to do that. Oh, I know that. Like, I think if that were so, people would be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like Key and Peele did the teacher draft, like the NBA and football draft.
yeah.
We need to do that seriously. Because
Wow.
let me tell you something. Educators need to be paid in the millions. Like, did you see her test scores? Yes. Will she settle for 2.1? Is 2.1 good for this social studies teacher? Like, yeah, yeah. That would be, yeah. Like, is that Principal Edwards? Okay, now did you see her? She's in the blue and Pivas. Can we just give her the 10.5 million? I'd be like, listen, that's great. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? Yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, we definitely need that, because this is what
That
we deal with.
yeah. My wife's a first grade teacher, so
yes.
she's been
She's
teaching.
almost the same. I did
She
first grade for like 6 months, and the children gained about 5 pounds. Now they could all read, but they could not fit in any clothes that their parents bought them the first day of school.
oh.
Yeah, because I solved everything with, "Do you want? Are you crying? Do you want my donut?" Like, yeah, everything, any issue in the classroom was
Candy.
solved through a donut. Or like,
Bribery. You
yeah.
got
Is
yeah.
Julie still? Is she at a public school? Julie?
Yeah,
Is she at a
public
school?
school. Yeah, here in the Chicago area.
Yeah.
Actually, the one she was a student at the school, and then did her
Oh.
internship or whatever at that and
Yeah, the
got
student
the job.
teaching.
So yeah, it's the one that she the one she went to in elementary school. So
That was my first teaching job, was actually in my beloved PG County, and it was right at Parkdale High School, where I graduated from.
there you go.
So yeah, and
No.
my English teacher, my 12th grade English teacher, I had Mr. Hawkins in 10th grade and 12th grade. When I walked into the teachers lounge, he said, "OS, are you the new English teacher for 12th grade?" I said, "Yeah, I think we're grade partners." He was like, "Hell no, I'm retiring," and put his paperwork in. And put his paperwork in. And he retired. I was
Oh,
like, "Oh my God, is this what you do in the teacher's lounge? You guys still smoke?" Like, and he was like, "Oh, this sucks. Like, I'm getting out of education." He was like, "The class of 91 is back." And I was like,
oh,
"Yeah, we're colleagues." He was like, "No."
oh.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot different. It's a lot different now than when she first started, and
Oh yeah.
we were talking a little bit beforehand. When we were gathering before this, you had said something interesting about boarding school. I think is what you had talked about.
And it's really funny. I really want parents to, because we have so many different layers nowadays. But I need parents to realize that there has to be expectations and accountability for our young people. Education, and let's take a state for, like, let's say Pennsylvania. Like, I want to say, like, 10 years ago, Pennsylvania cranked out like 21,000 educators. That number is down to 4,000
Whoa.
within a decade. It is, folks, teachers are not coming to school for the nonsense. They are coming to really educate children. Now, and I'm not saying that there are not some bad apples in the. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that education, where we are right now in our society, has to be taken very seriously. And the nonsense, the distractions from what children need to learn has to stop. Because we have the Googles, the Amazons, who need educators to come work for them,
Yep.
to train and to lead and to do these things. You know how many LinkedIn things that I get like, hey, would you be willing to come and have a conversation? You're trying to get me out of education because you know I could probably do this.
That's where the agent. That's where that agent comes in that you were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah.
So I really think that we are looking at such a shift in education, just like folks swore the pandemic wasn't going to come. But we are looking at such a shift in education that I wouldn't be surprised if the new public school of the new ages was going to be, the public boarding school, or where children could be there through the week, or you know what I mean? Because there's so many things that are happening with education, the funding streams, the lack of so teachers, if your child has a teacher who is certified and who is there teaching, honor and respect that teacher and don't come up with the nonsense, because that teacher can say deuces and be somewhere else. Like parents, and I'm a parent, so I know when I say this, I mean that for my own self. But folks, during the pandemic, a lot of our parents I had parents that came up when they knew that I was in the building during the pandemic, because I'm a neighborhood school, who came up there like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I told Miss so-and-so. Because I could see what my children do. And I'm like, oh. I felt like Dr. Evil, like, oh. Well, what was his cat's name? Mr. I forgot what his little cat's name. But I just felt like that. Was it Mr. Tickle's bird or something like that? But that's the way I felt, like, oh, are you serious? They don't sit down, they don't listen. Wow, but when we said it, so now you see. So that home, just like co-parenting is essential for children to grow up in as wonderful, like, human beings who are well-rounded and have both parents, right? Same thing with school and home.
Yeah.
Don't come up there blaming teachers for stuff when they had to correct your child.
I have one story, and then I think we got But so my wife, I think this was last year. She had a student that like cussed at her or something, which happens. And so she called home and said, hey, just want to let you know, so-and-so, did this, and just wanted to let you know.
What did you say to him first?
Well, exactly.
What happened? What you do?
Yep, exactly that. But then
what I did was not cuss him back the so-and-so out. That's what I did. So
then the next day, the kid kind of like hits her, like for kind of no reason. So she calls home again, and she said, yeah, well, you snitched on him. And she goes, what are you talking about? Yeah, when you called home, you snitched on him. Like, what do you expect? I'm like, what?
It's Stitches type mentality.
Calling home to the mom is now snitching.
There was a time
and
when
mom co-signed. The mom co-signed that mess.
Yeah,
I can tell you. There was a time.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Now, when that teacher, who might be a high-ranking teacher, when that teacher leaves, okay, and I need parents to understand this statistics right now, okay, if you have a teacher who grows children, right, over the course of a school year, so let's say for us it's 180 days, that child has shown a year or more of growth. That teacher is teaching, right? When they have to have these type of insults and nonsense, okay, and they quit, it takes over 11 other individuals. We call it a turnaround. 11 turnarounds or more to get the same caliber of person who quit in the first place, because you're going to say your kid should have hit her because she called you and now you want to say you're snitching. Stop it.
Yeah.
So that whole class, including that
That one
student,
child.
now gets set back. The school gets set back. All the other children who would have come through that grade are now set back because this teacher is like, I'm out.
Yeah. And she's a great
Wow.
teacher. So
And I cater to my teachers. I'm sorry. I know if they're listening or
They
will
do
listen,
deserve the supports and
they have
and
massage chairs, people.
oh,
In the
okay.
teachers' lounge.
All
They
right.
had massage
ooh,
chairs. And it was so funny. Like 3 weeks into school, I was like, hey, so and so, y'all seen this so and so? Seen pick her class up. And they're like, she went out for lunch. She should be in the lounge. Well, I don't try not to go in the teacher's lounge because that's their space. I was like, hey, how are you? You fell asleep. You picked your class up. In the lounge chair, listen, in that massage chair, knocked out. I'm like, no. You don't apologize. You listen, you were thoroughly enjoying. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how you get, you have to, as a leader in education, I have the expectation of how teachers are going to teach children and love on children so that they can have memorable childhood experiences. But honey, I am not the one for a parent to come up there and disrespect the teacher.
Yeah. Well, thank you for doing that. That I know that
Yeah.
doesn't happen
Yeah,
everywhere.
and vice versa. But I'm not about that life because teachers are leaving their own children to go educate
yes.
other people's children. And this is something that I found out today. So on average, a child has like something like 6,000 educational hours during the week or something like that. And they said they're only in school for 1,000 hours. So when we're looking at inequity, parents, what you doing with the other 5,000 hours?
Right.
The 1,000 hours
Wow.
are on the teacher. The 1,000 hours are the school's environment. But parents, what are you doing for that other 5,000 hours
Yep.
that has nothing to do with school at all, but are a part of? So when we look at inequities, it's more of the 5,000 hour inequity and that and that access issue and that show up and disrupt that other 1,000 hours that teachers are in front of them.
Well, I think we could go on. I think we could go on for another
I think we need to do
whole
a back
hour.
to school night revision. Back to school night
I
with
don't know,
Dr.
will they be
Crystal.
ready for back to school? Because
Yeah,
first of all,
because
show up to that.
the statistics, and you know what, that's something maybe we could put in our like our little chat with our fans, whatever. Like, would you like to learn more? Because
Yeah.
we could have another. Because you've allowed us to see the inner workings or the mindset of someone who has experienced so much in life and helping others, helping mothers, single mothers, but also how you are serving the community at large.
You have to.
And whether it's your children in the school district that you're in, or the mothers, but also to the people that you educate just by talking to us. Your outreach is amazing. I think we need to have her back.
Yeah. I'd love to.
Um,
But in the
we need to
in the
do-
meantime, Dr. Crystal, so what, like somebody that is interested in what you do and all the work that you're doing with empowering single moms, is the website a good place to send? Like what's a good place for somebody
and
that
I would
wants
say
more information?
that for anybody who lives in our service area, please, because our next event is our vision board.
So I saw that on the 16th. I saw that.
Yes,
And probably when this
like-
airs, that'll be past. But I'm curious about
It'll be
that.
so much more.
Yeah.
It'll be, it definitely will be so much more. And listen, I always say we're at the end of the year, so anybody who needs a tax write-off and is looking for an excellent organization to donate to, please consider empowering single moms, because we're just funded through like donations. I don't get any payment for that's not what it's about. The money that we get, our donations, go to the Empowering Single Moms Mothers and to the activities that we do.
That's
That we
amazing.
do.
So it's empowersinglemoms.org,
Yeah,
right?
Empowering
Or
Single
Empower
Moms
Single
Inc.
Moms Inc.
Mm-hmm.
INC.
.org.
Yep.
.org. Yep.
And
And
we'll put that in
listen.
all the notes and all that good stuff, so people
Yes.
will be able to click on all that. And
Yes. Absolutely.
we're not connected on LinkedIn, so that's my first thing I'm going to do when I get off right now is
Boom.
Oh yeah, I'm right there.
we'll make that happen.
Yes,
I
yes.
am right there. So thank you all so
Thank you for
very much, and I
sharing your
want to encourage all
story.
our single moms and just parents in general, to look at their co-parenting, reach out. Single mothers, you are not to blame for societal's ill. Stop that today. Be bold, be confident. Okay, your children are well, they will be well. Make sure that they are connected to their fathers. Okay, because you didn't make them alone, you can't do them. You can't do it alone, and you should not have to do. You should not have to do that at all. Create your support system, even if it's with the girlfriend. Okay, you already know what you had, and now you can laugh at her for having it after you. So that's the that's what you have. That's what you have to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
And
much.
yeah, well, yeah, like Sandra said, we'll have to have you on again. And yeah, thanks for your time.
Absolutely.
And I've laughed and learned a lot in the last
Thank
hour.
you.
Yes.
Thank you
And
so
I will be in
much.
touch with you to get some information on how we can give back to your organization. So
Absolutely.
we'll be on the flip side of that, of texting.
Awesome. Check your text, Sandra. Please check your text.
All right.
Check your text.
I will.
Check your
I
messages
will.
on LinkedIn.
Yes,
All
I
right.
will.
Thank you
Yes, I
so
will.
much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
There was multiple times where I mean, what she was saying was so like serious and deep, but in such a like I didn't know whether to laugh and like
No.
but I think that's such a dynamic way to tell a story because there's no judgment in there. I can imagine sitting there and being a mom or even being a dad and being like, hey, even hearing her, hey, he tried his best, like her, just the attitude that she had, I think, man, if I were in that situation, she would be the exact type of personality I'd want sitting there being there with me.
She was so authentic in just explaining how she felt certain ways about her other, her significant other, which a lot of people probably wouldn't want to admit, right? Or,
Right.
but I think that's part of the healing process that she went through to acknowledge it and then to come to a point where, okay, and this is about me. She is truly, as we say, like a visionary. There's a new way to learn about changing the narrative
Yep.
from societal ills, as she put it, with single motherhood and so forth. And it seemed a lot of it, the dynamics were mostly between the adults, had really
Right.
nothing necessarily to do with the child.
Yep.
It was how the adults interacted. And
Well, and when she said, that it was the fathers that are actually more involved in a lot of the schools, like that was
no one talks
absolute
about that. No,
absolute news to me.
yeah,
Made
no
me
one
made me
talks
feel a
about
little
it.
proud, as a man.
And that it should help stand up for those men out there, because you think about it, she not only is she running this organization, but she's in the school system.
Right.
And what better place? The school system deals with the familial aspect of it. You see the mother, father, grandparents, whoever. So she actually she's at the forefront. She sees it on a day-to-day basis. So
Yeah.
we're getting the real truth, from that microcosm, whether it's from Delaware to through Philadelphia, as she mentioned. And she's doing a lot of good work.
She really
I
is.
would
And
love to.
I need to get out a map. You all in your New Jersey is right next to Delaware, is right next to Philadelphia. Like is Baltimore somehow right there too? Like I don't know
Yes,
how all this works. So I'll have to get out a map and map out
I
y'all's
ninety
world over
five,
there.
friend. I
Okay.
95. You
Okay.
take I-95, and let me tell you, you could be in DC in 2.5 hours tops. That's with traffic.
Okay. All right. So throw
So
DC into the I gotta
yeah,
yeah.
so
I'm
yeah,
sure
so
Stevie knows it in his head exactly where all that's at, but me, I just can't comprehend all of those cities being
had
right there.
Villanova play in a tournament game all the way on the East Coast, you would have been there. But we stayed, Southwest.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
But
Yep.
just had to throw that in there just to kind of
Yeah.
reconnect how we all hung together back then.
Oh, those were, and you start to, Facebook starts to show like the memories of some of the things and the
Yes,
trips
so cool.
that Stevie and I went on, and that you were so gracious enough to let us be a part of. A lot of that was
We're
some
family.
great memories for sure.
We're family. I mean, you didn't invite me to any of the Stevenson gatherings after church service on Sunday, because I heard that was a place to be. So you could have, my friend, invited me, because my kid and his friends, they loved interacting with you and communing with their fellow classmates. But I'll get you back somehow.
All
I'll
right.
find some. I'll find something for you, and it won't include Michigan, University of Michigan. I can tell you that right now.
Go Blue.
I know. I see it.
They'll be playing in the national championship pretty soon.
That's another conversation. We need to have an outtake on that. But,
all right. Well, I won't go there, but yeah, this was awesome, and I
Yes.
can't wait to see who we're going to be talking to next.
I know. Yes. Well, thank you so much, friend. It's been a joy. Look forward to the next time, and we'll just add more people. I'm looking at my long list.
So check us out at the Motherlode Show on all of the things, and we're on all of the podcasts. And then you can actually see us if you want to, look at us. We are also on YouTube. So we will see you next time.
See you next time.